And we're live. And we're live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Comic Shop Talk Live. Brought to you by Black Cat Comics in Rock and Milpitas, your one-stop shop for all things superhero. Shop online at black-cat-comics.com. We're keeping you connected to the comic book community. I'm Mark.
I'm Francie.
And we've got a fun show for you. It's the Halloween edition of Comic Shop Talk Live. As you can see, we've got our cool Halloween shirts on.
Kelly Jones.
And a little Phantom Manor. The hardcore Disney fans know the difference
between what that
is. Phantom Manor and Haunted Mansion. So anywho, welcome to the show. Happy Halloween, everybody. I know that 2020 has been plenty scary enough, but Halloween is always fun, and we love Halloween around here.
Well, it's a different kind of scary. It's a controlled, I want to be scared today versus stuff is happening and we can't control it.
There you go.
Yes. Controlled scare.
Good times. Always like to start the show with a little comic shop news.
Comic shop news.
That's a good clicking right there.
That's a good one.
Have to start today.
Happy
Halloween, Marco. Start today with, fortunately, some sad news as we note the passing of the great Sir Sean Connery. Everybody knows
Damn you, 2020.
2020, just relentless.
So bad.
I was just coming to terms with the loss of Eddie Van Halen when I got this news today, and that's really sad. Of course, we all know and love Sean from James Bond.
Happy Halloween.
How's it going, Raymond? And we all know him from decades and decades of great films. Particularly us in this group love him in Indiana Jones as
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
and as the father of good old Indy. And yes, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yes. I think it's a better movie than its reputation.
It's a fun movie. It's fun.
I enjoyed it.
It's fine.
But I mean, it's not the book. No Alan Moore book can be made into a movie. But
and maybe shouldn't. No, From Hell was pretty good.
From Hell was pretty good. So thank you, Sean Connery, for your contribution to the arts, for your decades of entertaining us and inspiring us. Everybody has a favorite Sean Connery movie.
Yes.
Heck of a guy.
Yes.
Will
be missed.
He will.
Legend.
Yes, a true legend. That's the word gets thrown around a lot, but he's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
In other news, season 2 of The Mandalorian started. Was it last night or the night before? Last night.
Yesterday, basically.
Wow. No spoilers. No spoilers.
So good.
But if you don't have Disney Plus,
What's
you're really
wrong with
missing
you?
out.
What is Queso Problema?
It is worth canceling some other something to find a few bucks. Donate blood, some cans, whatever you got to do.
You have to watch it.
It's worth the fee just to watch Mandalorian. I, of course, watch Disney Plus stuff because that's me, obviously, with the shirt. But if you are for some reason holding out, Mandalorian's totally worth it. It is as cool as everybody says it is. You don't necessarily, and maybe better. You don't have to be a big Star Wars fan to enjoy it. It's
well done. It's like a mini movie, no spoilers, but it's like 45 to 50 minutes, and it's like you're watching. The quality is there. You feel like you're in the theater. It's like the production level is top notch.
Yep. Top notch. And this first episode.
Oh my God.
Wow. You
out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. You loved season 1.
So good.
For all the things that you loved in season 1. Again, I'm being very restrained and not saying anything about anything. But you loved season 1 and you wondered who doesn't love a Baby Yoda? You wondered if they could pull it off in another season.
Hey, Sherwin.
So far, one episode in, they're definitely bringing it for season 2 again.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
We're doing great, thank you. Hope all is well on your guys' end. Getting ready for Halloween.
Yes. As many of you are already participating, we always like to say it's an interactive show. We want to hear from you. We want your questions, comments, queries, concerns.
What you reading? What's top of the stack?
What's at the top of the stack this week? Good things. Okay, I was going to say, you want to take the next piece of news?
So they started filming Sandman, the Netflix series, finally. in October. So COVID delayed it a little bit. So they started production this month, which is super duper exciting. As a Sandman fan, we've been hearing talk of movies for 20 years, and it never really got off the ground. James Love Hewitt, I think is his name, wanted to do Morpheus, and he had a production, and that fell through. So they're doing a Netflix series, and apparently they're doing like one of the first things out of the gate for season 1. If you're a Sandman fan, you know what I'm going to say. It's the 24-hour part of the novel, and it's or part of the comic series, and that's brutal. I listened to it on Audible, and I couldn't listen. It was like just so gross and disgusting. You can't even like hear it. Now to see it in live action, it's gonna be like too much. I might have to tap out on that. It's great. It's a phenomenal story, but it's like the worst of the worst depravity of humankind, and don't know if I can actually see it in live action.
A little tough to stomach.
A little tough to stomach. So that's hopefully, I don't know when the release date is, but hopefully sometime next year we'll get the first season, maybe 2022. Who knows?
Seems like it's a big year for Sandman. Have we already talked about the Audible thing? You've listened to the whole thing, right?
No, I'm still savoring like the last couple chapters. I'm going back and kind of listening a little deeper in different parts, but it's just amazing. James McAvoy as Morpheus. I mean, perfect. All of it's been good. All of it's been really well casted, extraordinarily well directed, great music theme in the background. Like it's a really well done radio drama, which we don't really get in our generation. So it's nice to get that.
And I'm excited about them bringing it to Netflix. I like the idea that, and I said this before, that when we used to talk about Watchmen, I used to say that it was an HBO kind of thing, and they should parse it out into episodes.
And they did.
Well, I'm glad that they haven't done something with Sandman already in this. This isn't like the redo or the remake or the whatever. It's like
it sucks so bad.
It deserves to be done right the first time.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that it's taken this long for them to do it. And they're doing Sandman Lock and Key as well. We're waiting on Sandman Lock and Key comic is right around the corner.
I did not know that.
So like I say, it's a big year for Sandman.
And Neil's heavily involved. He's, I think, co-producer. They said, I was reading the article, with COVID, he was able to really polish up the season 1 scripts. And so they're like even more solid than they were originally. So expect great things, because it's coming from the greatest writer of all time, in my opinion, Neil Gaiman.
He's definitely up there on anybody's list, I would think.
Just like Good Omens was so good. Good Omens was so good.
And again, I'm glad that they're doing it right, because there's nothing worse. And now, there's lots of comic stuff out there, and the world is really different. But it used to be, in my day, we'd get things. I think the Spawn movie is a good example of what I'm getting at. Sorta, but you wanted the world to be like, oh, now I get it. Now I understand. Yeah. Like to the flip side of that is, if people didn't know anything about comics, but they watched the Spawn animated series on HBO.
Oh, that was so good.
Then you were like, oh, I get it. This is really super cool. But if you saw the movie, while the movie was okay, it didn't really motivate you to go, oh, now I want to read all the comics,
Right.
And that was difficult for a young comic fan to always to know that the stuff was so great, and then when it got out into the mass media, it was not often as great. So for people out there in the world that may not know Neil Gaiman, certainly don't know Sandman, you want their initial exposure to be like, wow, this is amazing. I should get this book.
Like American Gods on Star, season 1 was good. Season 2 went off the deep end. And they did a phenomenal job with Good Omens for Amazon Prime. And so I'm hoping that Sandman, again, this is his baby. And so I can't imagine Neil would leave it in the hands with anybody that he wouldn't 100% trust. So I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
I think it says a lot for the material that he's done all the amazing things that he's gone on to do. He's a novelist. He's made like Stardust as a movie, and Coraline is a big movie, and
so good.
You know, he's done all of this other stuff, and yet Sandman still holds up as good as anything. It's, you know, it's been a few years now. But it's not this thing that, you know, he did when he was young, and now all this other stuff is much better. Like, it holds up next to anything else that he's done. And again, I think a well-made program will show everybody the awesomeness of the content.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. What a great time of all this, you know, Netflix, and I think about like Umbrella Academy and just on and on and on and on we could go with the list. But it's so nice to see, again, all these comic properties. Doom Patrol is good. All this stuff just out there in the mainstream for the audiences to engage in. Again, makes an old school comic book person fun. I would have, if you'd have told me at any time until about, you know, all the Marvel stuff started, if you would have said, hey, Doom Patrol is going to be a show and people are going to watch it, I would say, good luck with that, buddy. I mean, I love Doom Patrol, don't get me wrong, but I would never thought that somebody could convert that into a show that people would watch. Just like Iron Man, all these things. And so living in a world where we have all of this entertainment so accessible. Again, getting back to Mandalorian, when I was a kid, I was a little kid 100 years ago, more after the success of Empire Strikes Back than the success of the original movie, George Lucas talked a lot about live-action Star Wars show. He really wanted to do a live-action Star Wars show. But, of course, he kept making movies and doing all these other things. And it just, the technology wasn't there. The ability wasn't there to make the show he wanted to make. And I do really think that he watches Mandalorian and thinks, this is the show I wanted to make. It's certainly the show I wanted to see when I was 10. And it's the show I want to see now. So, like I say, it's great to live in a world where they're turning all this stuff into well-made productions.
What else you got in the news? What else?
Okay, so then down to local news.
Local.
You've got about 16 hours for the Kickstarter program. The Black Hat Publishing Kickstarter wraps up. Oh, what am I saying? 16. Today's Halloween. You've got about 8 hours to participate in the Black Hat Publishing Kickstarter. It all wraps up at midnight tonight. We've hit the goal. We're working on the comic. We're very excited about that. But like I say, if you want to get in on the launch part of it, you've got till midnight tonight. And then we're going to have a link on black-cat-publishing.com and black-cat-comics.com where you can pre-order the comic as you would any other book. So that's super fun. Like I say, you got till midnight tonight on that. You also have till midnight tonight on the Horror 20 code.
Yes.
Go to the website, black-cat-comics.com. Use the code HORROR20 at checkout to get 20% off all of our creepy crawly coolness.
Under the Halloween horror collection.
And there's lots of great stuff in that collection. Like I said last night, I particularly recommend the Darth Vader Tales from Vader's Castle. It's an all ages book that's for Halloween, but you'll have just as much fun reading it as the kids. Good times there. And then last night was our annual Spooktacular.
That was fun.
And you can find that on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Encourage you folks to go check out Kazi's Classics. We had the Halloween horror edition of Kazi's Classics.
Also fun.
Got a few books left in that store section. And then we had Spooky Story Time. Do you want to talk a little about Spooky Story Time and tell them how they can watch that?
Sure. Yeah. So every year for Halloween, because we're Black Hat Comics, we put on a big shindig. So this year we wanted to continue. Oh, spooky! We're being haunted right now. We wanted to do a similar thing, but do it safely. So last night on Zoom we did haunted story time. So Kazi and I wrote some original stories. One of our customers did as well and shared that online. So we just, talked about the stories that we wrote, and it was a good time. We had fun.
And you can watch that on our Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. If, you're hanging out tonight and maybe you're waiting for trick-or-treaters, maybe you're waiting for trick-or-treaters that aren't coming.
Probably not coming.
You can listen to our scary stories.
Yeah.
And that's tons of fun.
And be spooked out.
Scary time.
Scary.
Well, that about wraps up comic shop news. So now let's get into some discussion of this week's comics.
Yes.
Again, this is interactive. We want to know what you guys are reading, what you're looking forward to reading. Some of what your favorite titles are, what your Halloween reading is. Do you want to start us off?
Sure. I am in love with this new favorite book, Department of Truth, James Tynion the Fourth, not to be confused with James Tynion the Third or the Second, apparently. So the guy who's writing Batman right now is doing another book for Image Comics called The Department of Truth. So the nutshell of it is, imagine if all the crazy, like weirdest out there conspiracy theories are true. Like what happens if, Bigfoot really is real? What happens if, I don't want to spoil it, but what happens if blah, 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 things we've seen in the news very recently. What if it really is true? What if like our collective consciousness believes so much in the fake news that it actually creates reality? And it's a fascinating psychological twist that's terrifying. And it's also circles on this one particular main character who had a really messed up childhood. And this issue 2 talks about his childhood in more detail. And it's creepy and horrific and terrifying and amazing. So if you want something creepy, pick up this guy for your Halloween stash for this weekend. Department of Truth, James Tynion the Fourth. I'll give you a sense. It's very like Ben Templesmith as far as like the look and feel. What can I show you? Can't really show you too much without spoiling it, but let me give you a nice shot here. Nah, I can't show that.
No.
But just to kind of give you a sense of the art style.
We should still have number 1 in stock as well if you missed it.
Yeah, we do. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I love wacky conspiracy theories, and I love wacky conspiracy comics.
That's what The Hunt is about? Okay, cool. I haven't heard about that before. What do you got?
Okay. So all kinds of scary books today. So Savage Avengers. No surprise, I'm going to talk about an Avengers book. Love me some Savage Avengers. I've loved this from the very beginning. I always say great stories, great art. This is a really good Halloween read. What's up, CJ?
Happy Halloween.
If you're looking for something a little creepy crawly, if you haven't been reading Savage Avengers, this isn't the first part of the arc, but you can pick this one up and just roll with it. I would suggest, like all things, grabbing that first trade paperback and catching up. But like I say, if you're just looking for something creepy crawly, something fun at Halloween time, you can just grab this one and go. I mean, check out this lineup. So you've got Conan, Wolverine, Elektra. That's the son of Satan, though I don't know what they did to him or why he doesn't look like he does traditionally. But anyway, it's a great team of your darker heroes. They're taking on Kulan Gath. If you're a Conan the Barbarian literature fan, you know Kulan Gath. If you know Red Sonja, you know Kulan Gath. If you're an X-Men fan, you might know Kulan Gath from back in the day. Because, in fact, and then they reprinted that X-Men story in Savage Avengers #0. He's just a dark wizard. He's the foe of Conan, and now he's in our dimension, and he's making trouble. And so Doctor Strange has to put together a team that can fight him. And there's your premise, and off they go. Like I say, it's just good stories, good art. It's a really interesting team. As an Avengers fan, I always like, those kind of eclectic team-ups. Cool art. I like Doctor Strange in anything. I like Black Widow in anything. So, and I don't know what they've done to the son of Satan, but he's another really cool character that I haven't seen around for quite a long time. So he does look a little like Firestorm. So that's my book of the week, top of my stack. We got number 12 a little while ago. There'd been, with the COVID gap, there was a block in publishing for a while. So we haven't seen too much Savage Adventures in a little while, but
they're catching up.
Like I say, grab the first trade paperback or grab this issue. It was a lot of fun.
Sweet. So next for me, Hellboy, the BPRD, The Return of Effie Kolb. Kolb. So there's just 2 parts. So this is the second part. I read it cover to cover, loved it. It's just, classic Hellboy, witch, scary, save the day, right hand of doom, all that good stuff. But I read it, I'm like, I don't remember anything about issue 1. And I went back and looked, and because issue 1 came out in February. So if you pick this up and you're like, I can't remember if I got number 1 or not, like, go through your stuff from February because it was a long time ago. Part 1.
Nobody remembers anything before March, right?
Long time. It's like another decade. A long time ago. But it was great, and it's nice to get a Hellboy book. I've missed Hellboy.
Show that page. That's some great art right there.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Sorry, glare. Look at that.
Everybody loves punching.
Good times. Good times. So, another great Halloween spectacular. Who doesn't like seeing witches get their comeuppance? The bad witches, anyway, I should say. Not the good witches. We like good witches. So yeah, it's great. Story by Mike Mignola, art by Zach Howard. Good times.
That's really cool. Hellboy is a perfect Halloween book.
It's a perfect book for any time, but especially Halloween.
Hold that thought 1 second. Because I'm going to piggyback on that really quick, if I may, and talk about a couple of things. This guy and this guy.
Oh.
This is your latest issue of Spawn. This is 311. That's your Chadwick Boseman dedication issue. Everybody should pick up a copy of this. There's also a black and white one that's really cool.
Beautifully done.
I wanted to mention this anyway. As I say, I was hoping, that everybody would want a copy of this because it's awesome. And frankly, Todd deserves a couple of kudos for putting this together because that's a great book. But it's also, moving on from that, I put these 2 together and I say, wow, that's my top 2 books from 1994. And back in the day, boy, when these books were just starting to come out, and I still love them both very much. A little like Sandman, it's very impressive that both of these franchises have kept their awesomeness over all these years and kept their fan base, and they're just as good as they ever were. But they're also really great Halloween reads. Obviously, these 2 things have nothing to do with each other. I just love these books back in the day.
Theme.
I love them now. Again, they both got a great horror theme.
Great art.
They both have great stories and great art. Some of the top talent in the history of comics, not just in the current guys working. So like I say, for some cool, fun Halloween reads, you can't go wrong with either one or both of those. And since you held up Hellboy, I was like, oh, that just reminds me. Like I say, just got a bit of an awesome 90s flashback with those 2 titles this week. So that was a lot of fun. And as a matter of fact, this is a good jump-in point. So if you haven't read Spawn for a long time, you can buy this not just for the cool cover, but this is your welcome back issue if you haven't read Spawn for a while. Good times.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, so another awesome Halloween and horror-related book. Another one of my favorite titles. Another book I talk about all the time because of these absolutely amazing Alex Ross covers. I love anything with an Alex Ross cover. We all love anything where it's Hulk versus Hulk. I can't say enough about Immortal Hulk in this title. It is everything you want in a Hulk book. It is deeply psychological. It is all about smashing. It is has his classic villains and like I say, it's everything. All the great themes over the years that they've tied into the character all have a place within this book, and then it's really fun. As I say, the Hulk is supposed to be an intensely psychological story. You're always wondering the connection of Banner and the Hulk. Who's really in charge here? What happened to Banner that makes this thing his other personality? On and on and on. And Peter David, of course, did it so well in his run back in the day, and now I always forget Pat Ewing, not Patrick Ewing. Anywho, Immortal Hulk. He's been writing it for the whole run. They all have these wonderful Alex Ross covers, much like Savage Avengers. Pick up the first trade paperback to get the gist of the book, or just jump into this one. Like I say, it's really dark. It's really heavy, but perfect for Halloween.
As our friend Josh says, it's a monster book.
It's a monster book. That's exactly right. And in fact, I'm glad you say that, because not only does it bring up all those great things about Hulk, but it's also all those great things about classic comics and genre comics like monster books, horror titles from the 1950s. This takes a lot of those late 50s, early 60s sort of things that went on in comics, and then gives it that 21st century angle. On and on and on I could go. And they're, 39 issues in. But like I say, grab the first trade or just jump into this one. Really, really good stuff.
Good times. Good times. Kind of a small week for me this week. The only other one that's top of my stack is the third part of Batman 3 Jokers. I haven't read it yet because I wanted to savor all three and read them from start to finish. I read the first one, and there was a lot going on. I didn't want to miss anything. So, like with Jeff Johns stuff, we talked about this before. Jeff Johns stuff is very intricate. There's a lot of goose eggs and breadcrumbs that he leaves from the get-go. So I wanted to sit down and concentrate and focus and read all of them from start to finish. So since this one just came out, I'm going to reread number 1 and then read all the way through to number 3 again. What's nice about and what I really appreciate about this, number 1, the prestige format, the beautiful art, the hardcover, the bind. I love all of it. I don't mind paying a little bit more for the quality, and they did a great job with this. The other thing is, like, if you're a fan of Doomsday Clock, that thing took forever to come out. It's like 12 issues. It took 2-3 years to come out. And this came boom, boom, boom. So I appreciate that they had it done, ready to go to print, and they did it one after the other, because that helped with the momentum of the book. Because you lose stuff. If it's like, I don't remember part 1 of this guy because it was 9 months ago. But this one came, 1 month after the other. So I appreciate they were on schedule with that. Again, the art, Jason Fabok, just amazing art. Great storytelling by Jeff Johns. So
wow.
I can't wait to dive into this a little bit deeper. So haven't picked it up. It's just 3 shots. 1, 2, and 3 came out this week. We have all 3 on our website. Check it out.
I was glad you commented, CJ. I was like, I wonder what CJ thinks about that. He's my DC guy. Could have been maybe 2 or more issues.
CJ said it could have been a couple more issues. Brad doing the colors, yeah. Brad Anderson doing colors was really good too. The colors have a lot to do with the comic, man. Like I said before, it's like the music in a movie. It sets the tone, the emotional content. It's like that I don't know. It's the last but most important note of the story. So I think colors speak volume, and the color is amazing. 100% agree.
But did you want to? You just answered my question. He says it seemed rushed in the last issue, and that was my question. Did you want another issue because it was so good you wanted more, or did you want another issue because you felt it was too condensed and needed a little more? Because that in comics it can always be like that. Sometimes you get to the last issue and you're like, oh, I want another issue, and sometimes you're like, wow, that's sort of all crashed together.
I felt a little bit in the reverse with Doomsday Clock. I felt like they could have cut some stuff out because I got really lost. And maybe it was because it just took so long for all those 12 issues to come out. But I felt like they maybe stretched it too much. They could have maybe done it in 8 issues or something. But anyway, get off my bandwagon on that one. That's great. True. This is great. Pick it up. If you're a Batman fan, you're a Joker fan, grab it.
But was it satisfying when you got to the end? Maybe you haven't read it yet, but without spoilers, because like I say, they made a big deal. This is a big deal book. So when it all wraps up, was it worth it?
Like I said before, I just don't want it to be like a multi-dimensional time travel thing, because I'm over that stuff. More issues because it felt rushed to me at the ending of book 3. Yeah. Well, Jeff Johns, if you're listening.
So like I say, sometimes it's like that. And it's one of those things, honestly. And now that we're making a book, I'm really seeing this. But how shall I say? There's always a conflict between the art and the physical production, meaning when you're given a job, ahead of time that it's this many issues and this many pages. A comic book is this many pages, so sometimes you either have to stretch it out or push it together to fit your story in the confines of the method that you're distributing it.
Yeah.
I've seen that come up quite a bit over the years.
Yeah, CJ, you and me both. I gotta read it, from issue 1 to issue 3 in one sitting, because then you get it all fresh.
I think I did that with Doomsday Clock, and I felt it read a little better. It was a little smoother when you read them together. I like to do that with different things from time to time.
Tom King stuff's good that way too.
With the best stuff, not just with like the good and great stuff, but with the very best stuff. At least in the second read, and sometimes in the third read, it's almost like you've never read it before. The example I always like to throw out is the Winter Soldier run of Captain America. The first time you read it, it's brilliant and it's life-changing. And there's you understand, even as a huge Cap fan, you understand why they use that for the movie and not other Captain America stuff. Like it's great comics. And you're reading the issues, and then that's all well and good. Well, then you get to the end of his run, and I was like, I'm going to go back and read. And when you reread it the second time, you see all the stuff that you didn't know the first time that he's telling you the whole time. He's going, hey, this, hey, that, but you didn't pick it up the first time because you didn't know. Yeah, Doomsday Clock's definitely worth the reread. And like I say, the very best stuff, when you love stuff, Kingdom Come is this book. When you really love stuff, those second reads can be just as good as the first.
Yeah, agreed.
And I always say that's where the value of your comic collection is in the rereading of your favorite things.
When I reread Mr. Miracle, I got a whole new flavor and meaning of the whole thing. Was he dead the whole time? Or was he alive the whole time and having a psychotic break? So you can sorry, spoiler. That came out a year ago. But yeah, you get a whole nother flavor of things when you reread it.
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run was like that. It was a thrill ride to read issue by issue.
Man, Jeff Johns.
And I'll
so good.
Add a whole other thing to that to say it's why I prefer single issues to comics or to graphic novels. I love the graphic novels. I do both with the very best stuff. Like CJ said, he got the hardcover for Doomsday Clock. With my favorite stuff, I love to follow the issues because I love those cliffhanger endings. I love getting to the last page and be like, oh, no way. And you have to wait 30 days, 60 days, 6 months till you get the next issue. When you see the next issue, you're like, oh, yeah. And your brain goes right back to that last page and you're all excited. And it's really fun to have that anticipation and all those things. But then it's also fun to get the trade and to just read, to just absorb the whole thing all in one sitting. The rereading is a little easier in a trade paperback. And like I say, the very best stuff is just as good the second time.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple of things to go through. And again, we want to hear from what you guys are reading. But Dr. Doom.
Miracle.
Love me some Dr. Doom. A little like Savage Avengers, this is a really, really fun book. Again, perfect for Halloween because it's a book about a villain. Though Doom, of course, thinks he's the greatest hero in the history of humanity. And I just love this title. I love the premise. The first arc was about Doom losing the throne. And of course, the throne means a lot to him, so he was not real excited about that.
Get kicked out of his own country.
And then now the second arc is about revenge. Nobody knows revenge like Dr. Doom. And so this is it's a really fun book that folks should be reading. Okay, I'll wet your whistle here with a little Brood Otto Octavius little analysis there. Again, a little like Immortal Hulk. Doom is a very psychological sort of character, but he's also a sort of very sinister character, and he's got lots of robots with guns. which is really fun.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with robots with guns.
Throw in some monkeys and dinosaurs, and it's a hit.
Hey, okay, that's an even better one. Look at that 2-page spread.
Are those flying monkeys?
Of Doom ruling, Doom warring. I mean, yes, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan, so I'm a little biased.
They could be flying monkeys.
They are kind of flying monkeys. But I say, just great stories, great art. Salvador LaRocca, X-Men fans know and love him. It's a really fun book. Pick up the first issue, and it will suck you in and make you want to read through up to number 8. I guarantee.
Okay, lightning round.
Lightning round. 2 things that I love doing these days. One thing, as I mentioned in the video, that I always like to do: Action Comics, Detective Comics, and Wonder Woman. I love when the Trinity all comes out in the same week. I love books with chunky legacy numbers. And I can honestly say, as I have been saying for it seems like a long time, these are 3 great titles that you will enjoy reading. It is a great time to be a Superman fan. Bendis is wrapping up his run right now.
Who's taking over?
I don't know yet. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe they've told me, and I don't know. I'm sure I've ordered the issue, so I should
CJ?
know. But Action Comics is a ton of fun. It's a great time to be a super fan. He's, again, a little like I said about a lot of books, he's taken all those things you love and made them fresh, new, and interesting. He's got, new villains and new side characters. But, they've not said. But there's, classic villains and all your classic side characters too. And as a Superman fan, I've just loved Bendis's run. I know he has his critics and as every comic book creator does. But I ain't one of them. I have a great time reading Bendis. His stuff is fun and exciting. Detective Comics, I think, is really fun. It's a great book. If you're a Bat fan, you should be reading Detective. I'll go so far as to say I think it's every bit as good as the main Batman run, and think it has been as good as the core Bat title. And on a side note, I would also say I think this book is where all the continuity is. Batman is somewhat self-contained in that they tell Tom King, this is your arc, this is your run, do your thing. And now they, the Joker War, though you saw Joker War happening in Nightwing and Catwoman, Batman, the title is very self-contained. But this book talks about, I don't want to say too much, talks about things that go on and have gone on in the DCU, in the other Bat title, in this title. So, like everything in comics, I know that discussing continuity is a little controversial. And I sit on both sides of the fence. I like self-contained things, and I like universe continuity. If you're a continuity person, Detective's a book you should be reading. And lastly, Wonder Woman is as good as it's ever been. This book is fun and exciting, action-packed. Again, new villains, classic villains. The creative teams have been changing up a lot.
Yeah.
But the consistency has still been there. The stories are good. The art's good. And of course, there's going to be a lot going on with Wonder Woman moving into the next big event. But I love to talk about the Trinity. I love it when they all come out at the same time. And last, and
CJ said the writing is awesome for action, but the art hasn't been doing it for him lately. Yeah, when they change up the creative team, is that Romita?
Yeah,
that's Jr. Why Romita Jr. stick to Marvel. Sorry, dude. Like your Superman ain't happening. Stick to Spidey, because his like chin is all messed up. Like, yeah, I'm with you, CJ. It looks messed up.
The DC folks don't like the Romita Jr. I grew up on Romita Jr. reading his Spider-Man, so he's
great at Spider-Man. He does he does not do a good chiseled chin Superman. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm with you on that, CJ. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's basically starting over. DC's kind of starting over with all new teams at the beginning of the year. They just announced some stuff for Wonder Woman, I think, this week too. Yeah, I'm with you.
I could see him come back to Marvel. I'd welcome him back.
Yeah. No offense, guy's great artist, but some people just are really great at certain things than others.
Some styles don't work for some characters.
Some people can't draw feet.
It's very true that some things,
Liefeld,
some artists don't work for some characters. That's just how that goes.
Lightning.
Okay. So the last thing is my weekly bout of Alex Ross covers. Love me some Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. Love me anything from Alex Ross. So this is your latest issue of Shang-Chi. This is number 2. Get ready for, is it a TV show or a movie?
Movie.
Okay. Get ready for the movie. And this is Fantastic Four Antithesis number 3. This is your Medusa cover. A lot of you wouldn't have known Medusa till they made that one season Inhuman show that wasn't very good. Why can't Hollywood cast redheads? Why do they always take women and put ridiculous wigs on them? Like, for real. Like Archie in Riverdale. Like, what is up with that hair? Anyway, that's Medusa, and that's awesome. And last but definitely not least is one of my favorite characters of all. That's the Scarlet Witch. That's your B cover to Strange Academy number 4.
When did WandaVision come out? When?
I don't know. There keeps being delays with that and with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know what's
COVID. Up. Damn you, COVID. I'm on my TV.
Well, Disney Plus is satisfying with The Mandalorian, so I can wait.
Good.
But every week has these timeless covers. I don't know. I don't often recommend buying books just for the covers, but if you're not reading Shang-Chi, that's pretty darn cool anyway. If you're not reading Strange Academy, though it seems like everybody is, I mean, come on, that's a pretty great Scarlet Witch cover. Give me some Alex Ross.
I got a plug for something I read from last week that I just read last night.
Okay.
So the Stranger Things Halloween special, oh, it was so much fun. I loved it so much. It was really good. It was funny. It was scary. One shot. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to be caught up on the show. You don't have to be caught up in the comic book series. It's just a standalone, and it was really fun. So I think we still have some left on our website too.
Should be a couple.
Yeah.
Might even be able to use the code on that.
November for WandaVision. Good. But I would not hold my breath. No. Similar.
Well, but with WandaVision, unlike Falcon and all that other stuff, they're releasing all of the product, all of the pop figures, and I just mean WandaVision stuff is now rolling out.
So that's a good sign.
And so, I mean, I have to think that the show's finished and ready to go.
If it's November, they should know by now, because it's November's tomorrow.
And I'm waiting for that to be my
tomorrow.
Yes, isn't that nuts?
What?
2020 can't go by fast enough. But I'm super excited about WandaVision. Mandalorian is already my favoritist show of all time. Favoritist. See, that's more than just favorite. It's my favoritist.
It's not a word. It should be. That's a good word.
As Thor says, all words are made up.
It's like those French have a word for everything.
But I would expect WandaVision, for me personally, WandaVision is going to give Thor a little run for his money. So
next week, we got Norse Mythology issue 2, another Neil Gaiman book. Very excited. The first one was gorgeous. It had, there's somebody at our door. Why don't you handle that?
Okie doke.
Why don't you go handle somebody at our door? Yep, that happens. So the first one had P.K. Russell, it had Mike Mignola, and it had another legend, Jerry Orway, right?
Oh, yeah, Jerry Ordway.
So, yeah, the art was just absolutely phenomenal.
Doesn't get any more legendary than Jerry Ordway.
There's some other, Batman 101 or 2 comes out next week.
102.
102. Dos. And
more X of Swords, I'm sure.
Yes. I'm trying to remember because I just did the data entry for it. There's some other stuff. Some other cool stuff next week, but it's all escaping my memory. Yeah, Justice League. There's a lot of things ending. Have not heard Justice League ending. I agree. It is so good. Yeah. The team.
Justice League Dark.
Is so
I don't think
good,
Justice. I know Odyssey ended.
Odyssey is gone.
I don't think Dark is ending just yet. I'm pretty sure everything goes on hiatus January and February while they do the future state stuff, and then your titles come back in March.
They're doing Winter's End, I think, at this point. Why don't you go see what he wants? Sorry, we're distracted by this guy that just keeps walking in front of our store. And then the new Hellblazer Rise and Fall is also coming out. That big, huge magazine, prestige format.
Black label.
I really dug that first issue. And I'm a huge, as you know, I'm a huge Constantine fan. I'm like really strict about, like, you got to do them right. Like, if you're gonna do them, you're gonna take on that book, you got to do it right. And they did it right. So the first issue was great. I'm excited to see what they do with the second issue. So great art, great format. I love the big prestige format. That's been really great to let the art breathe. So that's coming out next week as well.
Fun stuff. Yeah, that Black Label stuff's top notch.
It's good.
This
is Black Label.
They're doing it right.
We need more Joe Hill stuff though. All that stuff ended. It was so good.
Yeah.
Daphne Byrne, Basket Full of Heads.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
Punch.
There's not a second wave of Hill House books slated. Maybe there was supposed to be before all the layoffs or whatever, but
where's that guy going?
Doesn't seem to be happening.
He's driving in front of the store, and there's no driveway there. He's gonna watch. He's gonna hit the pole.
He's gonna hit the pole. Oh, I saw the pole. It's always more fun when they hit the pole.
As long as they don't hit the building. We've had that happen a number of times. So yeah, that's all we got for this week and for next week. What else is on the docket?
Hearing from the folks about what they're reading and talking about things.
Yeah, I love that format, the big pages. Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. They need to keep doing more of that. The poll always wins.
It does.
Wins. Yeah. Yep. That poor poll, though, they've had to realign it. Like, in the 5 years we've been here, that thing has, like, gotten all janky. And so they've had to, like, have a tow truck to kind of realign it at least half a dozen times, at least.
Good fun. So as we wrap it up, throw out, like I say, what are you reading? What are you looking forward to reading? What's top of your stack? What are your favorite books? What are your Halloween plans? Let's see. Tune in tomorrow, 2 p.m. for Matchbox versus Hot Wheels. Tune in every Wednesday, 9 a.m. We post the live video, show you what's out this week.
Yep.
Then at 10 o'clock, you get the newsletter. You read the reviews. You can go to the website, pick up the new books.
Buy all the goodies.
Then you tune back in Saturday. We hang out. We talk about them because that's what we do here at Comic Shop Talk Live.
We talk about comics.
Fun and good times.
Yes.
Have a happy Halloween. Stay safe. Stay sane. I'm very sad that this year I can't encourage everybody to give out comics to the
Catwoman in 26.
Yes, Catwoman's a great book.
Top of the
stack. Talking about that.
I can't wait for Batman Catwoman Tom King series.
That's going to be good too.
So excited to see that. I thought it got canceled, and when I saw it solicited, I'm like, yes. So excited for that, and I know you are too, CJ.
Yeah, like I say, most years I'm encouraging folks to give out comics to the trick-or-treaters. This year they didn't do Halloween Comic Fest, so that makes me sad. But if you do get the trick-or-treaters, think about that. Think about doling out some all ages books to the kids because that's always fun.
Yeah, it's January. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Have a happy Halloween, and then we'll
Stay
get rolling with good old Thankful November.
That's right. Eat lots of candy and scare yourself silly.
Take advantage of that Horror 20 code while you can. You've got till midnight tonight on that. Go to the Kickstarter, and if you're so inclined, get involved on the launch of our Kickstarter program. Check out Kazi's Classics and Spooky Story Time. If you didn't see them last night, I think the stories were fun.
I thought it was fun.
And the Kazi's Classics horror version was a lot of fun. So we've got a few things for you to do to keep your Halloween creepy crawling.
Entertained.
Infotained.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.